Alright, ladies and gentlemen, hope we're all having a wonderful day. And today I'm going to be talking about the 53-man roster for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Deadline was yesterday. They released the full roster. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, but first we're going to go over the reserves players. So this is injury reserve, suspensions, or off-the-field issues. Starting off was Ventrell Miller, linebacker from Florida, fourth round pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I believe he would have made the roster if he didn't tear his Achilles, and he tore it the last preseason game. He was looking really good up until then, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't even realize he got hurt. Like, that dude got a sack, he got a third down stop, and then all of a sudden he's just out of the game, and I was just like, hey, they pulled him out because he was doing real good. But he tore his Achilles, he's out for the season, so it really sucks for him as a person because, hey, it's his rookie year, getting to, used to the system of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and now he's going to have to be doing rehab. I don't remember if it was Agnew or James Robinson where he was just like, yes, the injury sucked, but being away from the team is what hurt the most, because obviously it's in season and he's over there doing his own thing while they're over there preparing for games and stuff like that. And he's not learning anything or getting better. He's kind of just trying to recover, So that's what sucks about getting injured, especially right now, or a season-ending injury. And then Smoot, he's still recovering from his injury. He tore his he tore his Achilles too. That's pretty crazy. So another Achilles tear. James Robinson tore his Achilles. Miller tore his Achilles. Smoot tore his Achilles. And then obviously Cam Robinson suspended for 4 games for, enhancements. And then Chris Claybrooks, he's getting off the field issues right now. It just popped up, domestic violence. So, and then Josh Wells, he got hurt as well. He's going to be on the IR, and he has a groin injury. He's a veteran in the league. And that's it right there. So, really, Cam Robinson, Smoot are the big names. Claybrooks probably wasn't going to make the team, or he would have barely made the team. But, obviously, off-the-field issues comes first. And then Miller just getting hurt. That's a big blow for that linebackers group. And it's, unfortunate for him. Or the surprise cuts of the 53-man roster for me is Prince and Seth Williams. I had Seth Williams making the roster, but I understand why he didn't make the roster. But we're going to go over Prince because Prince was more of a shocking thing to me. Because Prince, early in training camp, he was a hype. Everybody was talking about Prince. He's making crazy catches. He's looking really great. And then, like I said, he started slowly disappearing. And obviously, the Jaguars went with only 3 tight ends, so he was the odd man out. For Seth Williams, he didn't get that many targets in preseason, but I felt like when he did get the ball, he made a wild play. So I thought that's why the Jaguars would keep him, because when he did get the opportunities of trying to make a play on football, he did. And instead they went with Cooks, and I like Cooks. Cooks was one of the guys that I had before Seth Williams. I just thought the Jaguars would go with more wow instead of consistency, and that's what Cooks was. He was very consistent in all preseason games. He made plays after the catch, and he made very good catches. So it's good for him to get the spot as a 7th receiver. But the most surprising cut of the 53-man roster, most shocking and saddest cut, is Josh Peterson. I mean, Doug Peterson cutting his own son. I mean, I couldn't imagine going through that. Trent Baalke obviously made the decision. So, Josh Peterson, we wish you the best of luck. No, just kidding. He's going to be back on the practice squad. All right, the quarterbacks and tight ends, we only kept 3 tight ends. Quarterbacks, obviously, Trevor Lawrence, C.J. Besser. Those are the guys. Evan Ingram, he's a guy. 2nd-round pick. Strange. And then Luke Farrell. They compared him to Chris Manhurst, dude. So he's going to play a big role in the offense. The past couple of seasons for him, he hasn't really been, involved in the offense. And this year he is. He's going to be a pass blocker and run blocker. And he's going to be that guy that just fades out and gets those easy yardage. And for the running backs, we got Travis Etienne, Tank Bixby, Darnus Johnson, and then Hasty for the fourth running back. I didn't have Hasty make the roster for me, but he does here. And I'm not going to complain. I mean, Hasty's a good running back. He did great things last year. He's really good receiving, and he can play special teams, So, Hasty, he makes the roster. All right, for the receiver position, we kept 7 of them. Tim Jones and Cooks make the roster. Super happy for both of them. Tim Jones has done so much for the team. He plays special teams. He can play every single position as a receiver, X, Y, Z. And then Cooks, he's just a big body receiver. He has consistent hands, and he's shown in the preseason that he can make plays after the catch. He obviously probably won't be dressed out, but you still need that big body receiver on your roster, and Cooks is that guy. And if they would have let him walk, I highly doubt he would, make it back to the Jaguars to pick up for their squad. For the linemen, we got our typical guys. These guys made the roster. I mean, Walker Little, Brian Branch, Sheriff, Antoine Harris, Luke Forner. These are the starting 5. The question is, how long would they stay together? Because once Cam Robinson comes back, do you play Cam Robinson as left tackle? Do you play Walker as a guard? Or do you play Cam Robinson as guard? Or do you even play Cam Robinson at all? So that's really the big question for, the offensive line is, what do you do when Cam Robinson's suspension is up? Or for the backup offensive line, we got Tyler Shatley, the veteran, Blake Hance, Cole Van Lena, and then Cooper Hodge. So those are our backups. Cooper Hodge coming back. Hopefully he's healthy. I mean, he probably is. He probably will be, week 1. So, and then our interior D lineman, Hamilton. He's hurt right now. He suffered an off the field back injury. Probably will miss a couple of games. Fadakasi, I don't know his injury at all. So that guy's up in the air for me. And then Robinson Harris, that's the dude right now. I mean, he's basically all reliable at this point. And then Adam Gostin. And then the preseason stud, Jeremiah Ledbetter. He played phenomenal preseason. He deserved this roster spot. And hopefully he could continue that dominance in the regular season, because obviously Hamilton's going to miss some games. So hopefully he could take over that role and play as dominant as he did in the preseason. All right, for the edge, Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, Keyshawn. The typical guys here, but the only person that was probably on the verge of getting, waived was probably Chason. Chason, he hasn't really shown that much. He's a former first-round pick, and, he hasn't really showed that much at all. So, but that's our weakness right now. We don't have any edge depth, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Jaguars trade for somebody, because it's literally just Josh Allen and Walker. I mean, those guys could do it. They could play full-time, but, modern era, you need depth at the edge position to rotate out and have them going full speed when they're out there. A other preseason stud of this year, Yasa Adela, he makes the roster. He had a phenomenal preseason outing, when he was out there. He had a pick on the last game against the Dolphins. He's undersized, so the big question for him is, can he get pass rush? And if he could do that, dude, he could be a stud in the NFL. Because his coverage, when he drops back, he reads the quarterback. He does that phenomenally. But can he rush the quarterback? And if he could do that, he might be a sneaky Telvin Smith comp right there. Because Telvin Smith literally played the safety position, moved down to linebacker, rushed the passer, and he was able to drop back in coverage, and he was phenomenal at that. So he could possibly become the next Telvin Smith, because he does have that body type of him. He's a little shorter, but he needs to be able to rush the passer. Once he does that, he could probably be a stud for the Jaguars. All right, for the linebacker position, I went with 5 linebackers making the roster. We did that. Unfortunately, I was unaware that Miller was, tore his Achilles and was out for the season. So Johnson takes that spot instead of Miller. Quarterman's going to be your special teams guy, and he's going to be a plug-and-play for any starting linebacker to get hurt. If Louis Khan gets hurt, Quarterman can just fill in that role real quick. And Chad Muma, you know, he's a guy. And Johnson, he's gonna be, he's not gonna be dressed out or anything. Maybe he will on special teams, but yeah. For the quarterback position, Tyson Campbell, Williams, Trey Herndon makes the roster. Junior Brown makes the roster as well, and then Braswell makes the roster. Brown making the roster, I didn't expect that. He's very good in coverage. He's tall and lengthy as well. That's the kind of corners you want. But he does struggle in terms of tackling. If your corners can't tackle, they're probably just gonna run over to that side, and they did that to him when he played against the Titans, I believe. And they didn't have Derrick Henry that game either. And Christian Braswell, he makes a roster. Junior Trey Herndon making a roster. I mean, they trust him. He's a veteran. He's been in the league for so long. But he still has that weakness where he can't really pass. He can't play man-to-man in the zone. He's solid in zone, but does get beat over the top in man. So, I mean, that just shows that the Jaguars are going to be playing a lot of zone. But in my opinion, Trey Herndon shouldn't be the nickel person, but he probably is. So, let's hope he's, holds his own. For the safety position, Jenkins, Cisco, Wingard, Thomas, and Antoine Johnson. Man, I mean, it's your typical guys. I really hope Antoine Johnson plays the nickel role. He probably won't in the beginning, and then he'll soon, take over for Trey Herndon. But I feel like once he does, you're gonna see his impact on the field big time. You're gonna be like, wow, why did we start Trey Herndon over Johnson? And then right here we got our special teams players. So that's our 53-man roster for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Man, they better have a really good season. In my opinion, this is the easiest schedule we have had for the past couple of years. So we better be, I'm going to say, a top seed. Like, it's a big ask. But I hope we're a top seed, top 3 seed at the very least. We should win our division. We're more playoff ready than any of the other teams in our division. And hopefully we could get one of the top seeds so we could have multiple games in the playoffs in Jacksonville, in Duval County. And I can't wait for the season. The season's about to start next week. Thursday we have our first game. Well, not the Jacksonville Jaguars, but the NFL. And I believe it's the Chiefs versus the Lions. Not really, the best of games, but the Lions get their primetime game. The Chiefs, everybody loves the Chiefs nowadays. So I hope y'all have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.